Welcome to Court Explainer, Court Helicopter Explainer. Today, we are asking, do you have a telephone number? Yes, either Zain or Safaricom number. Have you traveled out of the country? You come back and you find that that number has been given to another person. Have you gone to prison and be jailed? When you come back, you find that number has been given to anybody. Have you failed to use your telephone line? Then when you want to load, you find the number has been taken away. This is a question that went to court in a petition that went before the High Court. The facts of the matter is that the prisoners, one prisoner went to court after he came from prison and find out that his number had already been given to another person. And he asked, how can my number be given to another person without my consent? What does the law say? The law says if your telephone number is not active for 90 days, Safaricom has a right to remove it and hand it over to another person. That is the law. So a prisoner went to court to challenge that provision of the law that allows Safaricom to take out that number and assign it to somebody else. What did the judge find out? The judge found out, and I repeat, gave this order, I'll explain, a declaration, that's order 2, a declaration is hereby issued that registered mobile phone numbers constitute a digital identifier linking personal data that relates to an individual's private affairs, hence qualifies for protection under Article 31, C and D of the Constitution to safeguard the right not have information relating to private affairs unnecessarily required or disclosed. What did the judge mean by this? Number one, the judge said your telephone number is now called, it is among a group of what is called a digital identifier. What is a digital identifier? These are, we have identifiers like the national identity card number. It is specific to you. You have the passport number. It is specific to you. We have the birth registration number. It is specific to you. We have these as items that identify you. So the judge has said your telephone number, because you are the only one who has it, is equal to your ID number. So if you leave to use your ID number for 3 months, does the national government take your ID number? No. Once you have been given an ID number, it is yours permanently for identification. So your telephone number now has become like an ID number. The judge looked at, walk to any bank hall. When you are opening an account in the bank, they require your telephone number. When you are entering into any building, you must leave your ID number. When your telephone number. When you go to a lodging, to a hotel, you must provide your telephone number. So your telephone number has grown now to become like a national identification number. And therefore, it cannot be given to any other person. But the judge went further and said, yes, there are some times when it can be. What did the judge say? 3, the judge said, I hereby order a mandatory order is hereby issued directing the Attorney General within 6 months from the date of this judgment, that was yesterday, from the date of this judgment, and in collaboration with all relevant departments, including but not limited to the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner, the Communication Authority of Kenya, and the relevant ministry, to take all necessary and appropriate measures to safeguard digital identity associated with the registered mobile telephone number against unfettered deactivation and subsequent arbitrary reassignment or recycling. The measure shall ensure reassignment of any deactivated and previously registered numbers shall only be possible. The judge said Safaricom has had unfettered powers. It can deactivate, it can take it. Now the judge has given the government 6 months with Safaricom to get how to deactivate a telephone number of somebody. What are the steps that is supposed to be done within 6 months? 1, if there is a previous registered owner's informed and verifiable consent that they must trace the owner of the phone, get his consent. Bramwell doesn't want his number. Safaricom must look for him and ask him, do you want this number? We give it to somebody. He gives his consent. That is now mandatory. B, after an expiry of reasonable period following issuance of public notice, which must be preceded by a thorough documented verification process aimed at confirming the original registered owner cannot be located or has unequivocally revoked the right to the number. Number 2, if Bramwell gives a consent, or if they don't get Bramwell or Vivian, they must publish in the newspapers the following numbers. The owners, can you come and confirm whether you are still willing to retain the number or not? If you don't, the notice must be put in the newspapers. If you don't, then Safaricom has now the right to give that number to another person. C, the third order the judge said is that technical safeguards be put in place and implemented to prevent unauthorized exposure or transfer of personal data linked to previous registered owners to third parties upon reassignment or recycling of the number. The judge is saying a telephone number nowadays is what you call OTP. If you want to withdraw money from the bank, digitally, they'll send you a code. If NTSA wants you to consent something, they send you a code on your telephone number. If KRA communication, nowadays they send that communication through the number. So a third party is not supposed to know. Remember, we have talked Article 31 about the right to privacy. The courts are enforcing the right to privacy. Number 4, so the judge ordered prison. Every time now a prisoner is going to be sentenced, the prison details must, at the time of taking the handset of the prisoner, get the telephone number of the prisoner, send it to Safaricom, and tell Safaricom this person has been convicted and he'll be in prison for 20 years. Then the Safaricom will preserve that line until the prisoner comes out. Then he will choose either to proceed with it or not to proceed with it. Remember, the only thing a prisoner loses, and we have taught that, is the liberty. All other constitutional rights to privacy, to dignity, are with the prison. So the judge has protected prisoners, their lines will not be taken. And then lastly, he has given that is now what the judge has given as the law of this country. What has Court Helicopter brought to you? It has told you that Article 31C and D of the Constitution is so important for the country that your line, your telephone number is not a joke. This is an indictment to Safaricom's policy of taking the people's numbers after 90 days. So now you know your number is like your ID. If whether you go to prison, for students who are going to America to study, for those students who are going far for 5-10 years, your number is now your number. It cannot be taken away. It remains your number. Wakili, Dadson Omeri, always bringing to you as it is. This is the side of authorities. We told you weekly we must get to you the landmark authorities that have come out of our courts. And today we were looking at your personal number, your telephone number, your Safaricom number, which is your M-Pesa number, is now protected by the judge, Justice Lawrence Mugambi. Asante.